Hi guys, in this module we are going to learn about some important animal fibers which we are used to make fabric, that is clothing for wearing. So let's get started. Our learning starts with the story of wool. Wool is a very important animal fiber. The source of wool is either goat or sheep. Even we get wool from camel and yak. Okay. So what we do is we choose one animal who has a lot of fur, like hair on their skin. Actually, this fur is provided by nature to them so that they are saved from the adverse cool conditions, because this fur will trap air molecules and air is a bad conductor of heat. Okay, so these animals will feel warm in the colder regions. That is why God has given them this fur. But we will use this fur to make a yarn and then weave a cloth. So let's keep on going ahead. The wool which we get from sheep in our country India are these following types. We have wool from Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, J&K, Gujarat. Several states of India, they produce wool. That is depending upon which breed of sheep is used to make which quality of wool. Now mostly people would prefer those sheep which will have very very fine skin over them, so that they keep on breeding. Breeding means they do selective breeding. They would like to have those sheep giving birth to new sheep which will have very fine variety of wool. Okay, so this phenomena of choosing is called selective breeding, which is also very common in India. Now, as I already told you that we don't even get wool only from sheep, but we get wool from yak. It looks more like buffalo with lot of hair, yak. This is available in very very cold regions like Ladakh and Tibet in India. Then there are some goats which are present mostly in J&K in India. From them we get pashmina wool, and then from J&K only we get angura wool. Angura wool looks like this, and you can see this is a goat which looks so fluffy. Okay, so we get angura wool from this kind of goat. Now let's see that once the animal is having wool on them, what steps we take to convert it into a yarn. So first we remove the skin with the fur from the animal. This process is called shearing. But shearing is more like shaving, it will not hurt the animal at all. Okay, after we take out fur along with a very thin layer of skin from the animal, we will do cleaning and scouring of the wool. Obviously we have to clean it to get rid of any grease particle or any dust particle which was on the wool. After that we do grading and skirting. Grading means it will be a mixed wool, right? Different sheep will have, some will have long fur, some will have round fur. Okay, so we'll just grade them different, that okay, I have to keep this lot separate and this lot separate. After that we will dry it, because we had washed it, so it might be little bit wet, so we'll dry it. Okay, again one more time we sort it, and then finally we will spin it in the form of balls like it is available in the market. Okay, before doing shearing, we have to be careful that shearing is usually done in the warmer temperatures. Okay, because the fur purpose is to save the animal from cold conditions. So we have to do this shearing only in the summers, not in winters. Now rearing sheep is a very important industry in India. Okay, so what people will do, they will have sheep. Sheep are mostly herbivorous, so they take them to grazelands so that they can graze. But to produce better quality of wool, they also feed them with some kind of pulses, some kind of oil producing plant fodder, so that they can be healthy sheep, and also they produce good quality of wool. And in winters, mostly sheep are kept indoors in temperature controlled conditions. So that was all about our story of wool. Now let's know a little bit about story of silk also. So silk we are getting from a very teeny tiny creature which is called silk moth. Okay, the life cycle of a silk moth looks somewhat like this. There will be one egg. That egg will get converted into larva, then pupa, and this pupa will form a kind of a cocoon around it, which will eventually get converted into the adult butterfly like thing. Okay, and this whole process of life cycle of a silk moth is called metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. Now don't think that actual silk moth butterfly will look like a big butterfly. It looks actually like a white color small butterfly, but that larva is kind of gigantic larva. Okay, and this is cocoon. Let's see in the next slide, I will explain more clearly. So this is how it will be. The eggs will be like really teeny tiny eggs will be there. Okay, so if you are rearing silk moth, the industry name is called sericulture. Sericulture is a kind of industry if we are rearing silk moth for getting silk fiber. So firstly we will have very tiny these eggs will be there. These eggs are kept either on paper or some clean cloth piece it is kept. Okay, and we keep lot of mulberry leaves around it. So when the eggs will hatch and small larvas will start to come out, they will eat like crazy. They just keep on eating day and night, and they become enormous in size. You can see from those small teeny tiny eggs, such a big larva is formed. Now this larva, what it do is it starts to just secrete some kind of secretions from it, and it keeps on moving left and right. Now you can see somewhat like spider web structure is started to get formed, right? So then it keeps on rolling around this web, and ultimately one cocoon is formed. So these are the cocoons from which we ultimately will extract the silk fiber. Okay, now how do we extract the silk fiber from these cocoons? Either we dry the cocoons or we just boil the cocoons, and fiber will start to come out. The process is called reeling. Sometimes some kind of special instrument is also used to reel silk fiber from cocoon. Here in this picture you can see very clearly this is a cocoon, and after boiling you can see the strands or silk thread. Okay, so initially we will get white color silk thread. Like wool also we get initially white color, and then we can dye it for different colors, weave it, and then we can use it. Now silk varieties, we get lot of varieties. That is sometimes based upon what type of silk moth we have used. Sometimes it is based upon what kind of food we have fed to the silk moth. Now mulberry silk is the commonest, easiest, and it is least expensive type of silk. Okay, in this this is mostly available in India also, because we just leave the larvae on mulberry leaves. They keep on eating and producing silk. Okay, then I have given you the lot of list of, we have eri silk, we have tussar silk, then we have spider silk, munga silk. Munga silk is mostly found in Assam. Okay, then we have sea silk, and then we have cone silk. Okay, these are the varieties of silk which are available. That's all about the story of silk and wool. I hope you like the story. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel. Thank you.